Finally, in her time with Steve searching for the Winter Soldier, a lot is revealed about Natasha's character. Her constant banter with Steve reveals her sarcastic humor, making references to movies at inopportune moments and telling Steve that she only acts like she knows everything. She displays confidence in the way she carries herself, such as when she shows Steve a bullet wound on her stomach and sarcastically says, "Bye bye bikinis," not really believing that the wound would prevent her from wearing them. She also reveals depth. Being a shady character with a mysterious past, Natasha confesses that she is not all things to all people all the time. Steve tells her that's a tough way to live, and she responds that it's a good way not to die. Natasha is not used to so much care from anyone. When Steve saves her life and she asks if it was the other way around, if he would trust her to do the same, Steve replies that he would now, and Natasha truly understands at that moment that they have a profound bond. Natasha flourishes in this movie. Marvel presents her as a strong, confident, capable woman, but makes her relatable and likable through her depth, humor, and connections to Nick Fury and especially Steve Rogers. Natasha's position as a strong and self-serving woman regresses in Avengers: Age of Ultron. Natasha appears both emotionally and physically weak at various times throughout the film, confusing and upsetting fans. Natasha's romance with the Hulk, aka Bruce Banner, puts Natasha in an uncharacteristically attached position. Additionally, Natasha and Banner had no romantic involvement in any movies prior to this one, or even in the comics, so their relationship was somewhat random. The relationship turned Natasha into somewhat of a love-struck damsel as she begged him to run away from the fight with her. Natasha's strength and determination throughout the previous movies are basically thrown out the window. And let's be honest, we were all a little disappointed that she never got with Clint. Natasha's phrase to Bruce is, "I adore you," continuing her uncharacteristic streak as she puts herself in a very vulnerable position, one she has always refuted because love can be used as leverage. Later in the film, Natasha is captured by Ultron and acts very frightened, but not in the same way that she would pretend to act weak in previous films. She cowered in fear of Ultron and was locked up in a cage, waiting to be rescued. While Natasha did take charge and send Morse code messages over the radio to notify the team of where she was, she ultimately had to wait around to be rescued, even though she has the strength and intelligence to have broken out herself. It's important to note that she sent the Morse code messages to Clint, the person she trusts most in the world, not to Banner. Marvel's portrayal of Black Widow in this movie conflicts with their previous position of female empowerment. The fans want Natasha to have a love interest and to be the strong and independent person that she is, not to fall apart like a love-struck teenager. Additionally, the audience has seen relationships, romantic or not, develop between Natasha and Clint and Natasha and Steve over the previous movies. Natasha's relationship with Banner is simply hearsay. The audience hasn't seen it, it's just been told, leading us to believe that there's no way she could trust anyone more than Steve or care for anyone more than Clint. Although her own actions are lacking, Natasha is treated very well by others in this movie. Clint is desperate to save his best friend from Ultron and understands her so well that he searches the radio channels, knowing she'll be trying to get his attention. Natasha can be seen driving Steve's motorcycle during the fight with Ultron. The vehicle is stereotypically a manly vehicle and has only been driven by Steve until Natasha is trusted with it, and later Bucky can be seen riding it in Civil War. Natasha is also presented as having a somewhat motherly role or being what holds the team together. She often cleans up the team's messes, saying that she's always picking up after the other Avengers. Her backstory is somewhat told as the Scarlet Witch forces her to recall her traumatic upbringing. When Natasha discusses her sterilization, meaning that she can't have kids, her femininity is addressed and sympathy is drawn from the audience, namely from women. It makes her relatable since most women value the ability to have children and brings out a family aspect in her. It is easier for Natasha to do unspeakable things because she doesn't have a family to worry about. This is one reason that she is so close to Clint's family. She can't have one of her own. Clint even names his son Nathaniel out of devotion to his best friend. Near the end of the movie, Natasha's passion for the people she protects is revived as she is prepared to die with the people of Sokovia if the Avengers are unable to save them. Later, she prepares to work alongside Steve to beat the new Avengers into shape, reigniting her take-charge personality. The Scarlet Witch, aka Wanda Maximoff, is a complementary character to Natasha in this movie because, despite being a villain for half of the movie, she redeems herself in the end as Natasha has. Wanda is much more powerful than her twin brother Quicksilver, aka Pietro Maximoff.
Created using Powtoon.